Welcome back to Nightly Nonsense, where we make some sense out of the nonsense that's all around us. Talked about conviction lately, right? Talked about black lines, still waiting for people to respond. Tell me, are you doing it? Right? Are you asking the hard questions? Are you getting some communication? Those things are important, right? Talked about hope. I want to talk to you tonight for just a few minutes about the truth of the nonsense. Right? As we look around, there is a lot of nonsense. Right? There's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make sense going on and around. And the truth of it is, that's how it's always been. Since Genesis chapter 3, where somehow Adam and Eve in a perfect garden with a perfect God in perfect place decided to disobey God and do that which they weren't supposed to do. Followed up, right, with Cain and Abel. Followed up with Noah's Ark, followed up with the Tower of Babel, followed up with Abraham's story, right? Followed up with Jacob's story, right? Followed up with the Exodus, followed up. There's a ton of nonsense that just goes through the Bible. You read it and go, why did these people do this? Why did this happen? How come this happened? Right? The truth of the nonsense is it's always been this way. Always. Always people are bent on either working for or with the enemy. It's just simply called selfishness. God's kingdom, God's society, how we make sense out of the nonsense is all based on you thinking about others at the very least as well as you think of yourself, but probably more than you think about yourself. That's God's economy. He asked Adam and Eve, team up with me, I'll give you all this stuff, but think about me. Think about me, put me first. That's what God wants. That's what God desires. And every other person put on this planet since has been faced with that question. Put God first. Put God first. It's how we make truth out of the nonsense. Hey, Noah, put me first. Build me an ark. Hey, Abraham, put me first. Leave everything. Come follow me. Right? Hey, Jacob. Hey, Moses, go lead the people. Hey, David, right? Hey, Nehemiah. Hey, Daniel. Hey, 12 disciples. And then, hey, you, put your name in the blank. Help make some sense out of the nonsense. The truth is, there's always been nonsense, and God's plan has always been the same. If you put me first, I will do things in your life that will light up this world, this dark world. You do the right things, and then it will make a difference. But the truth is, most of us have dimmed or turned off our light. People can't tell whether we are in the light or in the dark because we are in a brownout. Right? Our power has been so decreased, we're not making a difference. We're not even trying to make a difference. Nobody has a clue. At best, they know we go to church, but they don't know anything about Jesus. We're not giving them any hope. But God says, you are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. This is my plan. Give people hope. Recognize things have always been bad. Right? They've always been bad on this planet. Since the fall of Adam and Eve, there has been nonsense. But God's plan the entire time has been to make some sense out of the nonsense. And he's using people to do that. Hey, be different, think different, act differently, talk differently, and it'll make some sense out of the nonsense that's going around. And then people will want it. But when we're not doing those things, when we're not helping people make sense out of the nonsense, we're just adding to the nonsense. So here's my very short nightly nonsense. Somebody is standing in awe that I could speak this little. Are you making sense out of the nonsense around you? Are you adding to the nonsense around you? Go back to our conviction talk. Ask God, am I making sense or am I making nonsense? Hey, we'll see you next time. Nightly Nonsense.